Hello, my name is Trinity McCourt, and we are the founders of the Keeping Students Together Foundation. Many students are affected by homelessness today, and we want to offer easily accessible living spaces to help SMC students, and hopefully in the future we'll be able to help more students around the globe. Our product will give students a chance to focus on school and not have to worry about where they're going to sleep that night. We are the Keeping Students Together Foundation, and we hope to bring the community together to make a difference and to keep our students safe.
Students sleep in their cars and park their cars in big parking lots in the middle of the night just so they can get some sleep to prepare for school. Students then bathe in gyms. Then some students have to experience the embarrassment of getting kicked out because they are not allowed to do these things in public stores. It is important to help these students because they keep having to worry about where they want to park and where they're going to bathe the next day. Students at this time should not have to be worrying about these things, and their time should be on their studies and on school.
Hello, I'll be diving a bit deeper into why KSTF is so vital and what are the issues making it as vital as it is. There is a huge housing insecurity problem on college campuses, and especially in California. This is due to an extreme inequality and an evolving housing crisis that has been getting worse since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. To give a better idea on how big this issue has become, 60% of California community college students have experienced housing insecurity. Also, 19% of students have actually faced homelessness. These numbers have of course increased since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. Since this pandemic, California's undergraduate enrollment has declined by 20%. And this is because students are prioritizing work to meet housing and basic needs over education. This is where KSTF comes into play, as we are trying to eliminate and lower those numbers in order for students to have a fair chance at successfully finishing their education with our support. Estimated with all of Los Angeles community colleges in the county, that's roughly about 2,951 students at SMC that are either facing housing insecurity or actually facing homelessness.
Los Angeles County also has one of the highest populations of unhoused persons of any region in the country. The housing and homeless problem in Los Angeles was labeled a crisis in 2019, and this problem is increasing, with the number of homeless rising by 13% since 2020. Of course, many of these homeless are students and adolescents under the age of 25. The problem urgently needs solving, and agencies are scrambling to find solutions.
The housing crisis is growing, and the number of college students who are unhoused has risen more than 14% in the past 5 years. At the same time, there is a growing lack of support for those experiencing homelessness, with local parks clearing out homeless encampments and turning off public water services. This makes it even harder for homeless people who are trying to become educated or employed.
Important to help because having to worry about where to park and where to get clean can take over a student's valuable study time. Students should be focusing on school and not where to sleep. In our foundation, students will no longer have to worry about where to sleep. Their minds will be focused on school.
Those 2,951 students at SMC that are facing some sort of housing insecurity and homelessness, there is groups of students that are facing it more than others. And according to the John Burden Advocates for Youth organization, the rates for Black students experiencing homelessness have doubled compared to any other racial groups. There are currently 2,194 Black students enrolled in SMC. According to The Guardian, students who identify as Indigenous or LGBTQ+, and especially transgender students, are at higher risk for experiencing housing insecurity. These numbers are a lot higher than their peers who don't identify as any of those categories. At SMC, there are a combined 10,998 students who do fall under the Indigenous category, and there is roughly an estimated 25% of students who do identify as LGBTQ+.
According to a study made by UCLA, 1 in 5 community college students experience homelessness, and this number has likely risen due to COVID-19.
The Keeping Students Together Foundation is a nonprofit organization where we want and need to help homeless students have a safe environment to stay at. We are all current students at SMC, and by helping our community, it helps us help others grow, as students as well as people. Being a part of the SMC community, we always want to make sure that all students are cared for, and by donating and helping the Keeping Students Together Foundation, the KSTF Living Space will become an amazing new addition for the community. The KSTF Living Space is a 10-level building with 20 units on each floor. The first 5 floors are a 1-bedroom unit with a provided desk, bed, dresser, as well as a closet. For these floors, there will be communal restrooms with 10 sinks, 12 showers, 12 bathroom stalls. 2 of the showers will be accessible for handicap, along with having 2 of the bathroom stalls being accessible for handicap. The top 5 floors will not be communal restrooms. Those units will be a 1-bedroom with a restroom provided. These floors will only be provided for students who are parents or for students who have medical conditions. If you are a parent, you must show identification of the child being yours, and if you have a medical condition, you must have a doctor's note that explains your limitations. Depending on the condition, you might get turned down. Outside of the KSTF living space, there will also be free parking for the times of student stay. The top 5 floor units will also be provided with a bed, desk, dresser, and a closet. If needed for parents, they are able to ask us to provide them a pull-out couch to have more space for sleeping. Our product aims to provide an easily accessible living space as well as access to amenities. It gives students the opportunity to sleep through the night safely rather than sleeping in their vehicles. It gives students the chance to be able to access campus resources easily, and there are no fees for staying. Our overall goal is to make sure that if you are a part of the SMC community, you will always be given the help that you need. Providing these types of resources for students will help emphasize the importance of rising numbers of homeless students today. We are starting KSTF at SMC, but hopefully can grow to raise even more awareness across the world.
This is the layout of our service. Students are able to stay at our foundation for a maximum of 2.5 years, since community college takes around 2 years to complete. Students will stay at our foundation free of charge, and to maintain their membership with us, they need to have a C or above GPA. They also need to be enrolled in at least 6 units for spring and for fall, and they need to be enrolled in at least 3 units for summer and winter. We think it is important for each student to have an equal opportunity to succeed in their studies. There is also no age cutoff. Anyone at any age is welcome to join our foundation. Rooms will be given on first-come, first-served basis. Students will need to fill out an application that is provided after registering on our website. We will get in touch with the students after they submit their application and notify them what else they need to provide for us and when they'll be able to move in. Students will then be given their own key cards to be able to access the parking lot along with the building. Depending on what floor the student is staying on, their key card will only allow them to access their floor. We do this to provide maximum security for each student and to avoid any incidents happening. All we want to do is keep the students safe and so they are able to complete their studies on time.
How our product will help students even more. To begin with, our building will be located very close to the campus. Another benefit with KSTF and having this housing for students, providing counseling and workshops. Counseling will be provided Monday through Friday. That way students are able to speak to somebody one-on-one about any issues. Also, we'll be providing workshops once a month for students to interact with and find organizations when needing any other resources that we might not have. The goal is to reach out to nonprofit organizations to come speak with students and hand out flyers, provide them resources and services for any needs that might fit them. Some of these nonprofit organizations that we would like to reach out to include Colors Youth, and this is a nonprofit that provides free and unlimited mental health services for youth 25 and under. Another one of those organizations includes NAMI, the National Alliance of Mental Illness, and this is dedicated to building better lives for people affected by mental illness. Another nonprofit that we'd like to work with is LA Youth at Work, and they solicit entry-level jobs and internship opportunities for adults up to 24 years of age. So how can we continue funding KSTF and provide a way for people to invest in us, especially for the future of our organization? Well, in order to fund KSFT to help maintain and help the finances to provide these services to students, we have the idea to propose a letter asking for a grant from the Los Angeles Community College of District Board of Trustees. The goal is to write them about what we're doing, how we're helping, and how it's been going. Hopefully get them on board to fund us and help expand to other community colleges.
In April of 2022, the City of Los Angeles approved $3 billion of funding to build housing for 60% of the homeless population. This funding will be used to fund different homeless shelters and housing projects, such as KSTF. While the funding of KSTF will be very expensive, we believe it's possible due to the urgency of the situation and because lawmakers are willing to raise budgets to solve this problem. Funding can come from other agencies as well, such as Los Angeles Mission or the VA. In 2021, the VA obtained over $100 million in federal and charitable funds to build new housing projects. An example of this is the new tiny home village in the San Vicente region of the VA, which provides housing for high-risk and vulnerable homeless populations, such as young people, trans people, the disabled, or women.
We will be supported by GoFundMe and Patreon. GoFundMe is a platform that allows people to raise money for challenging circumstances, events, and many other activities you can think of. Patreon is another platform when supporters of KSTF can subscribe to our organization and donate monthly to help us keep growing. These platforms will greatly help us finance our product, and this will allow supporters from all over to help build the KSTF living space. We will invest all earnings to the production and the construction of the building. We will also use our earnings toward amenities throughout the building, as well as cleaning supplies to keep the building as cleanliness as possible. We want students to be able to benefit from our living space, and keeping the building clean will also help with the ongoing pandemic of COVID-19. We want our community to feel safe and welcome. For us to do so, you may donate however much you are able to. Anything helps us to be able to start and keep our organization growing. To donate and support our product, you may visit our website at kstf.org, where you can find our GoFundMe as well as our Patreon. Or give us a call and speak to one of us and learn more about KSTF at 310-443-8107. Thank you, and help us help students.